put you in a grade 6 feet like candy.
You call me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god.
A very good evening and welcome to Premier League Live this evening for this Premier League fixture on a catch-up fixture of matchday 34 between Tottenham and Manchester City. City know they win, they retake the lead at the top of the table heading into the final day with it in their hands to lift the Premier League title. If they do not win tonight, it's Arsenal's hands that the title will be half in. And if Arsenal win on Sunday and City drop points in either one of their last two games, they will be Premier League champions. But City know 2 wins in their last 2 would make them Premier League champions for the 4th successive season, something no club has ever done in Premier League history. To tonight's game, and Tottenham Hotspur, there's all been a controversy of whether those players out there would want to win to maybe give Arsenal a chance at the title, or whether they'll lose to do that. Well, Vicario starts in goal, a back four of Pedro Porro, Christian Romero, Radu Dragoshin comes in alongside Romero, and Mickey van de Ven at left back tonight. A strange alternation for Ange Postecoglou's side. A midfield 3 of Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, Pap Sarr and Rodrigo Bentancur, with a front 3 of Brennan Johnson, James Maddison and Heung-min Son, the captain. For the Manchester City side, who travel here, haven't won in their previous 4 Premier League visits, lost on all 4 occasions. This team tonight wants to change that. Edison starts in goal, a back 4 of Kyle Walker, the captain, Manuel Akanji, Ruben Dias, Josko Vardiol in defence. Mateo Kovacic and Rodri make up the defensive midfield, with Kevin De Bruyne in a much more advanced role. Bernardo Silva on the right, Phil Foden off the left, and Erling Haaland leading the line. Both benches are as follows: Austin Royal, Skip, Kulusevski, Gil, Hall, Lo Celso, Scarlett and Moore for Tottenham. For Manchester City, Ortega, Stones, Ake, Nunez, Lewis, Bob, Grealish, Doku and Alvarez on the bench. Ange Postecoglou got a draw to Manchester City at the Etihad. Can he keep what 3 previous managers have done here and win against Manchester City at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium? Kick-off in this huge Premier League fixture is on the way next.
Catch me if I fall.
A very good evening and welcome to Premier League Live this evening here in LFS as we're ready for this huge Premier League fixture between Tottenham and Manchester City. Remember, it is all on the line tonight. Pep Guardiola staring into the ground, talked about having butterflies before this game. Well, as you would, and I'm glad I'm not a fan of either Manchester City or Arsenal tonight, because I'm sure you might have confidence, but you'll certainly have a lot of nerves coming into tonight's game, and I'm glad I'm a neutral in this scenario. Tottenham in, of course, their home strip of all white, and City, not in light blue, they're in black tonight, their away strip. As we get underway at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, as I mentioned, a stadium that City haven't won at in 4 previous occasions, have lost on all 4 previous meetings here, yet to score in the Premier League at this ground. So it's the ultimate kind of slip-up ground for Manchester City in recent years, but a very different Spurs team and a very different Spurs approach in terms of the way they play. And that will be maybe a beneficiary of Manchester City tonight. But Tottenham will press high, and it'll be interesting to see how they're trying to adapt to that. system to try and affect Manchester City. As Rodri knocks it into the air, brought down by Romero and then hoofed up the pitch by Porro. Back into City control. Lisa says, I think Spurs will let City win because Spurs don't want Arsenal to win it. But I don't know about that. Maybe the fans feel like that, but certainly the manager, Ange Postecoglou, in his pre-match interview, talked about how he doesn't understand that line of thinking. That yes, Arsenal and Spurs have that kind of that rivalry, massive rivalry, of course, but Tottenham still have Champions League football to get, and that's a point we haven't mentioned yet. Spurs win tonight. They have a realistic possibility going into that final day with a chance that they win away at Sheffield United, that the pressure will be on Villa after Villa drawing last night, that they could still get Champions League football. It's still a possibility for Spurs. Maybe not a likely chance, because beating Manchester City is a very, very difficult thing to do, even on your home turf. But I just think, from what Ange Postecoglou said, it won't be anywhere near. Spurs won't be deferred by this. They won't see that Manchester City can, if they lose tonight, can possibly hand the title to Arsenal, give Arsenal an upper hand. I don't think Spurs think like that, or they won't think like that here tonight, and that won't be an idea of their thinking and the way they're going to approach the game, because clearly that's not what the manager wants them to do. City have the ball at the back. Edison and Spurs applying that high press. City play out from it with De Bruyne, and Haaland battling there with Romero, and he will get the free kick there. Haaland just a bit too physical for the referee's liking. And Christian Romero, he did get himself in a bit of a muddle there. He tried to stretch for it and then overreached it. But I do think Haaland did get a slight pullback on Romero, but it is minimal. And it is a Spurs free kick. Chris Kavanagh is the referee this evening. Our VAR is Michael Salisbury. Of course, we had a lot of VAR intervention last night at Villa Park between Aston Villa and Liverpool. Both sides playing very high lines. There was more offsides you can count on both hands last night. Here's Bentancur switching it out to the left. Son to come and chest it down. Beats past Walker. Finds Van de Ven on the overlap, but no one continued that run ahead of Mickey Van de Ven, and City can just easily recover it. Here's Rodri. Chips it forward, looking to find that space into Haaland. And that's great from Haaland, his physicality. And City spread it out to the left-hand side. Here's Vardiol. Foden. Closed down there, Phil Foden. And back it comes through Dragoshin to Vicario. They're going direct through the line, Spurs. It's clear they want to move the ball quickly, get it up the pitch, move it fast. Here's Sarr. Lisa says, who do you think will win? Well, although I don't believe that Spurs will go into that mentality of, oh, we want to lose, I just don't think... I mean, I think that's bigging them up too much, that they can have that much control that they can choose to lose. I think they might lose even if they try and win. You know, that's still a very realistic possibility. This is Manchester City we're talking about here. You know, they're not a team that rolls over. They fight at the biggest moments, and the Man City side that know what they've got on the line and what they know what's at stake for them. If they win these next two games, they win the title. So I do still think City will win here this evening, because I just think they have an abundance of quality. And why would you ever bet against them, considering where they are and the run that they're on, and you know, kind of the run that they go on at this time of the season. You know, we talk about it season in, season out. They're on the verge of winning the title for the fourth successive season because they get the job done. And around March to May time, they just go on this mad run, and they look unbeatable. They look unstoppable. They look like nothing can stop them from doing what they want to do. That's why they won the treble last year. It's a lovely switch ball from Spurs, though. Here's Brennan Johnson. Squares it across. A shot on the edge, and the save from Edison. Bentancur with a shot, and Edison had to palm it over the bar. That was a really nice move by Spurs in a tight area, and the switch ball out to the right-hand side, and it's over the head of Vardiol. There's really nice control by Brennan Johnson, and just see the late run from Rodrigo Bentancur to the edge of the box, and he just strikes it first, takes a touch and strikes it with his left boot right up the middle of the keeper, and a strong left hand from Edison denies him. First corner of the afternoon, or the evening, sorry, goes to Tottenham. Madison to take, right-footed delivery into the box, headed away by Vardiol, but not clearly. Højbjerg round the corner to Son, body still in the box for Tottenham. Son trying to squeeze it through, couldn't find the gap and has to go back to Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, who will feed it across the pitch. That switch ball again, and Haaland back doing his defensive duties. He heads it out of play for a Tottenham throw. Well, 6.5 minutes, and City haven't had a successful pass in the final third yet. 8 successful passes for Tottenham. City without a successful pass in the final third in these early moments, but massive long way to go. That ball out to the right hand flank, and again Brennan Johnson was the target, but couldn't find him that time. Tottenham. Pep Guardiola. Straight face. Oh, City at the back there, cool and calm. And the record at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium against the City, we've said it, we've mentioned it, and we'll continue to talk about it all evening, because it is not a coincidence. The last 4 occasions that they have played here, Manchester City, all 4 occasions they've played here, they have lost by a 1 or 2-0 scoreline. Incredible. Here's Kyle Walker though, chops it back, Kevin De Bruyne, and the shot off the line, deflected behind for a goal, or for a corner, but I think he was offside in any case, Kyle Walker there. Yeah, he made the run far too early. Far too early there from Kyle Walker. He was clearly offside. But again, that run down the wing, Kyle Walker had lots of space. Although he was offside, he had a lot of space. If he held his run, he would have been in and would have given City a massive scoring opportunity. So there is that gap on that side that Tottenham will need to be wary of when they do come across, that there is that space in that area that they need to be very wary of, because Kyle Walker will try and break down that right hand side to find the space. Man City get the throw in. Sorry, Spurs get the throw in. Van de Ven takes it short and wins another one off Bernardo Silva there. Van de Ven with a throw in. Bentancur battling for the ball and won it on a couple of occasions there. But it will be a City throw this time. The last ball came off them. Off a Tottenham player. Walker to take that throw. Haaland closed out to the right hand side but finds Bernardo Silva, surrounded by 4 Spurs players, and closed off the ball. Spurs chip it forward. Sarr with a run in behind, and Sarr's got space to break here, and Akanji is in battling, but Sarr wins it. Here's Pap Sarr, he's not got many bodies with him. Son with not a great first touch, and brought out by Akanji to win it back for Tottenham, or for Manchester City. It's Bernardo Silva. Of a misplaced pass to Foden, and then the foul on Madison from Bernardo Silva to try and win it back, gives Spurs the free kick. Well, it's not the only title race that's on the line here tonight. Remember, in Scotland, of course, Celtic and Rangers battling for the title, and after that Old Firm win at Celtic Park at the weekend for Celtic, they're on the verge of the title. They can win it tonight if Rangers lose at home to Dundee, or if Rangers drop any sort of points at home to Dundee. And at the moment, after 38 minutes, that kicked off at 7:30, Rangers find themselves 1-0 down. It is Rangers 0, Dundee FC 1. Jordan McGee with the goal to give Dundee the lead, which, as it stands, would gift and hand the title to Celtic. Ange Postecoglou's former club, of course. But a long way to go. We'll keep up to date with that scoreline as and when we get updates from it. Here's Vardiol. Spreading it out, but a poor pass by Josko Vardiol and couldn't find De Bruyne. Spurs break it apart, and Spurs have actually had more of the possession in the first 10-11 minutes of this game. 62% of the ball for Tottenham. So they're certainly not afraid to get on the ball. Starting to cause City some problems. They've had the only shot of the game, Tottenham. That was that Bentancur chance that was saved by Edison. Was a mistake there from Spurs playing out there. Maddison losing it. Comes back to Diaz. Bernardo Silva. Ruben Diaz. Right, it goes to Walker. Nicely taken down. Back it comes to Ruben Diaz. Turns back on himself, but goes round the corner. Finds Rodri. Now Bernardo Silva. Back to Rodri. Nice work in between the lines by City, and Foden plays it off to De Bruyne, and then the pass from De Bruyne blocked off, but pulled back by the referee for a foul on Phil Foden. So a free kick will be given to Manchester City. Lisa says, I think Doku is a good player to come on if you want to win. Yes, Jeremy Doku can be a late kind of burst of energy to try and give City some pressure on the Tottenham defence late on from the bench. He's a real pacey player if they need him, if they want to change up the game. I think City have got to find balance in that midfield as well. They've got balance between very good attacking players, but also I think with the involvement of Kovacic this evening in that area alongside Rodri, I think there's more kind of a want for a bit of balance in that midfield. A balance between attack and defence and holding up the ball. That's lovely touches by Phil Foden, and had to be claimed away by Van de Ven for a City throw. City trying to play it through the lines. Those quick 1-2 touches, getting them in and around the Spurs box, but not able to penetrate just yet, Manchester City. But patience, I'm sure, will be key to their game tonight, Manchester City. They know that Tottenham are going to try and hold them off as much as possible. Try and put as much pressure on them as possible. Svardiol did adjust and find the ball to Kovacic. He finds the space for Foden. Look at the gap for Kyle Walker, and look at this for a run. Here's Kyle Walker down the right hand side. Space to cut it back, and couldn't find a Tottenham or a Man City player. And Højbjerg on the retreat for Tottenham. Puts it behind for the corner. But again, that's that space down the right-hand side. It's a gaping hole in the Spurs defence. Again, they've given City miles and acres of space on that left-hand side. And it's just an easy run for Kyle Walker right down the right flank. And a simple cutback from the byline. But he couldn't find any of his teammates there, Walker. Spurs flooded the box, but they allowed that space on that right-hand side. Foden to take the corner. Fizz right across the box, headed on, and headed wide, but I think there was a deflection in there. It will be a corner once more. Corner comes in. Yeah, it was Van de Ven that got the header on that one. So it is another Man City free kick. I do apologise for the bit of a break up there in our stream. I do apologise for that. Technical issues. Oh, mistake at the back! Foden! What a save by Vicario to block it off. Tottenham messing about at the back there. But that is a great reactionary save from Vicario. Will be a goal kick. Just see this again. It's a miss kick at the back, and I think Spurs just kind of panic. It goes back. De Bruyne with the ball into the box. Romero tries to clear it, and then Højbjerg just has to try and kick it away. He completely miscues it, and Foden, the first to react. And luckily for Tottenham, a strong right hand to their keeper Vicario held it out of the net. But that is a major opportunity for Manchester City. But Spurs, just a bit nervy there. Just needed to be calm and composed. And it's all about those moments in games Just retain your composure and not really lose, pardon the language, but not lose your shit in the 18-yard box. That ball down the left-hand side is a lovely ball. Son, well, literally on the sidelines, and he's forced out there by Kyle Walker. Will be a Tottenham throw. There's not much talk about Radu Dragoshin. He starts this evening at centre-back alongside Christian Romero. Not a back three from Spurs. Here comes Madison. Back to Son. Son on the edge. Now Bentancur. Back it comes to Sarr. Sarr around the corner. Here's Brennan Johnson. Couldn't take this shot, and it blocked by Vardiol and behind for the corner. But Spurs really cute, intricate passing. Son knows the pressure's coming. Finds Bentancur. Bentancur to Sarr. And then Sarr around the corner to Brennan Johnson in space. And Johnson just can't find the shot across goal, and it's blocked by Vardy all night for the corner. But really nice use of the ball from Tottenham. Really nice again from Spurs. We do have a lot of action at Ibrox to tell you about. We'll get there in a moment when we do get a brick and play in this one. Corner for Tottenham. Right hand side it is. Been out swinging from Madison. Again whipped in. All the way in, and the header. Oh, just off target there. And Son is onside. He brings it down on the left. We're going to try and beat past Vardiol. Trying to go for the right-footed cross. Blocked. Back it comes to Son. Son trying to squeeze his way through. He's got two bodies to come up against now, and he's just lost out to Vardiol there. Does Heung-min Son. And City working ever so hard to win it back and get it away, as they do clear their lines eventually. Porro to get it back up. As I was saying then, goals to tell you about at Ibrox. Dundee, 2 minutes after they'd taken the lead, Juan Portales doubled their lead 2-0 just before half-time. On the 45th minute mark, Ross McCausland has got one back for Rangers. So it is 2-1 Dundee at Ibrox this evening. And remember, Rangers, anything other than a win tonight would crown Celtic as champions this evening. Son with a nice ball, looking for the run of Højbjerg, and he did get that ball but couldn't find the pass off Højbjerg and was blocked as City win it back. Playing nice football, Tottenham, and it's really interesting. You know, they're really committing themselves. They're throwing themselves at it. They're not trying to say they beat City at their own game, but they're passing it nicely. Although it's a nice ball by Foden. Haaland through the middle. Here's Erling Haaland, and he's battled and bullied off the ball. You don't see that happen very often. And Tottenham, they're bullying him off the ball. It was Dragoshin that was involved. And he gets a nice pass out from the back. Johnson. Off to Pap Sarr down the right. Down the line it comes. And all the way back it goes to Christian Romero. It was good work from Dragoshin there. Tough task, you know. He's not been a mainstay at the Spurs defence this season. He's been in when he's been called upon through injury problems, of course, for others. That's when he's got his opportunities. 2 starts in the Premier League this season before tonight for Dragoshin, and a tough test coming up against Erling Haaland. I mean, the best in the business struggle against Erling Haaland, the Norwegian. But he did well there in one of his first main battles with Haaland, as Bentancur is deemed to have fouled Foden here. Let's see it again. Bentancur does get the ball away, but it's he just kind of stands on the foot of Foden afterwards. It's kind of like a follow-through problem. I think there's much in that, but I'm sure the referee is just making sure, not taking no risks with that one. So a free kick to Manchester City. That free kick comes to nothing because Spurs have it back. It's Brennan Johnson. A lot deeper than he would want to be. Just square it across. Now finds Dragoshin. Space for Spurs to move it. Here's Bentancur. Around the corner it comes, but not as strong enough from Pedro Porro when he loses out. The City win it back again. Kanji. To Diaz. To Kovacic, who's pressed there by Pap Sarr, but does Find a way past him. Kovacic through the lines. Finds De Bruyne. A nice chop back. Foden here into space. Finds Walker. Walker down the right-hand side. Look for the cross in again. And Romero the first to clear it. As Tottenham eyeing up a quick counter. Here's Madison. There's bodies running forward. Here's Son down the left-hand side. 21 minutes gone 0-0. Son to Sarr now. And City getting bodies back, and Spurs not as quick to get the ball forward as they initially wanted to. But they have the ball back, which is, I'm guessing, is what matters. But again, it's Kyle Walker has that another gap in space. It's really, I'm being honestly deadly serious. Spurs need to really get that figured out and find a way to cover that gap off, because that gap is gaping and it's getting bigger and bigger, and it's going to cause even more problems. That's where the majority of City's attacks have come, down that right-hand side, because Kyle Walker's had the whole of the freedom of that right flank to just roam. So whenever Spurs are defending, they kind of go a lot narrower, and they drag, obviously with Van de Ven playing left-back, he comes in a lot more narrower, closer to like a third centre-back, rather than playing out a full-back, giving the width to the Spurs defence. And that's what's finding that gap down the left-hand or the right-hand side for City, down Spurs' left. And that's where the issue's coming. But in possession, Spurs are expansive. They're pushing out wide with their players. But when they lose the ball, or when they're off the ball, out of possession, they kind of come more narrow with their back four. And with Van de Ven typically being a centre-back, he will naturally come a bit more narrow. Halfway through the first half. Nothing to separate the two teams. At the moment, we're just seeing the shots of the City or the Spurs fans. Quite a number of them in a strange colour tonight. Didn't know Spurs wore blue. A couple of them in that Spurs away top, where they have blue, kind of a light sky blue colour in their kit. So. Genuinely, we're all laughing and giggling, but I am deadly serious. If my football team, or the fans of my football team said, we're going to go into a match to lose it because it's actually going to benefit, or it's actually going to harm our rivals more than it's going to help us, when we've got something to play for, I would see that as an absolute farce. The fact that, I mean, as I've already said, I don't think Spurs are going in with that mentality, and I don't think they're going to aim for that. Of course not. It might still happen, that they might still lose, but they're not aiming for that. But if my team were to do that, I would say it's farcical. Lovely ball in behind here. Look at this run from Bentancur. He's got Brennan Johnson coming in the middle, and just couldn't find him. The second ball won by Porro. Porro now trying to break past a couple. Couldn't beat past Vardiol, who wins it back from Manchester City. But again, Spurs finding those gaps on the break. This runs in behind. It's where the problems are being caused. But I would call it farcical. Genuinely. It's ridiculous. The fact that it's even being posed as a question. I get it, Tottenham and Arsenal. I get that as a massive rivalry. But what happens to Arsenal is none of your concern. The only time that you actually can do something to affect Arsenal is when you play them twice a season. You can't win those games, which, by the way, Spurs haven't. They lost both games this season in the North London Derby. Sorry, no, they didn't lose both games. I apologise. They drew the first one and lost the second one. I apologise. But that's the only time you can affect your rivals or what they can do. But losing a game to spite your rivals would be a new low, even for Tottenham. That would be a new low for any football club, considering Tottenham still have a chance at Champions League football as well. But we can dead that conversation because it's not happening, and it's kind of quite idiotic, really. Did anybody believe that was a realistic possibility? I mean, we don't live in Cloud Cuckoo land. But anyway, moving on. Here's Kovacic. Tried to go through the lines, blocked off that time nicely by Romero. Here's Sarr to get Spurs forward. Trying to find the ball in behind, but just overhit that one. Pap Sarr to try and find Brennan Johnson. And that one cut out to Sarr. Does break up the pass again from Rodri. Sarr brought down now to Bentancur. Under pressure. Madison. Out to the right-hand side, Porro. Now Johnson, back to Madison. Of course, Madison can be a real key to unlocking City tonight. He's a fantastic player, but that's a lovely bit of play from Spurs. In the box it comes, and Ruben Dias has to try and clear it away, but he could only clear it behind for the corner. But again, Spurs finding those spaces and are starting to cause City quite a number of problems. Fizzed ball in by Bentancur, round the corner it comes. And then it goes out to Brendan Johnson looking for the cross in, and it's blocked off for the corner. Corner taken short. Madison. And Sarr couldn't stretch for it. Porro will recycle it. City can just creep their way out from that corner. Spurs just having to manoeuvre their way into space. Here's Højbjerg to Son on the left-hand side. City flooding bodies back, but here's Son going on a run, trying to beat Kyle Walker. Couldn't beat past Walker that time, and Son battling back. Only gives Spurs the throw, or gives City the throw. I don't know why I keep confusing the two teams. They're not the same team. There's nothing like each other. Oh. Evenings, Ethan. Welcome into the chat. Great to have you with us again. City to win is Ethan's prediction tonight. Well, I mean, I think the vast majority of people would have predicted a City win tonight because Tottenham lost 4 on the bounce. Were absolutely carved well open by Liverpool at Anfield last week. I mean, they did have that late fight back, but it was too little too late. And then, of course, the win against Burnley at the weekend, which was okay, but, I mean, it's Burnley. They were relegated. They were relegated at the weekend. They went behind against Burnley as well. So Spurs, a lot of improvements needed. And, you know, progress, as Ange Postecoglou called it, their manager. You know, it's progress this season. And while they've still got the chance of going for Champions League football, they'll go for it. And I like that mentality. And I like that idea. A draw tonight wouldn't be enough for Tottenham to try and get Champions League football. Villa will be in the Champions League and will be confirmed in that position if the results come to pass. Either a City win or a draw would confirm Champions League football for Aston Villa next season. Tottenham need to win this and win on the final day against Sheffield United, and hope that Villa do not win on that final day. They hope that Villa can at least draw to give them hope, but it's very unlikely. But you never know. Here's Bernardo Silva, try to find De Bruyne, but great tracking back from Bentancur to block off the pass to Kevin De Bruyne, and Tottenham win the throw-in. That's fantastic from Bentancur there. At half-time, by the way, at Ibrox, Rangers 1, Dundee 2. Second half should be underway very shortly in that one, because they went to half-time about 5-10 minutes ago. Oh, pressure on the back. Bentancur under pressure from Haaland. Here's Rodri. Now Kovacic. Okay, I'm just seeing Spurs very, very narrow back four when they're out of possession. Here's Foden, beating off the ball again. Phil Foden is Bentancur battling. Lost a couple of those battles. It falls to Foden now. Off Højbjerg. Rodri. Now Foden. Back to Kovacic. Looking for options. Very narrow from City as well. 4 City players. De Bruyne, Rodri, Haaland and Foden. Very narrow in their attack. Rodri, though, in between the lines, finds the pass out to Walker. City try and open up. Diaz. Kovacic under pressure, has to go all the way back to Akanji. Now across to Ruben Diaz, but a poor touch by the Manchester City centre back, and it all comes to nothing but a Spurs throw-in on the left-hand side. That's a nice quick throw. Madison Finds the space for Højbjerg. Looking for options. Down the right it comes to Brennan Johnson. Back to Højbjerg. Madison. Højbjerg. Back it comes to Dragoshin. Van de Ven. And Son. Back to Van de Ven. Sure, Tottenham and Ange Postecoglou will be pretty happy with how their side have approached this first half an hour or so and how they've played in the first 31.5 minutes against this Manchester City side. That's an awful pass. What was that from Ruben Dias? Again, a mistake by City, gifting Spurs the throw. Madison. Back to Van de Ven. Now Dragoshin. It's all about Spurs not being complacent, not just trying to pass it around for the sake of it. Have a clear incentive and intention of where your pass wants to go, because City will just wait and pounce on you if you've got an aimless pass going somewhere or you're just passing for the sake of it. Just need to find that intention. So Højbjerg through the lines, finds Sarr, plays off him. Now Højbjerg feeds it out to the right hand side. Here's Brennan Johnson, bodies arriving in the box for Tottenham. Brennan Johnson up against Vardiol, gets to the byline, looks for the cross, and Edison looked to catch it, but he kind of fumbled it and goes behind for the corner. Brennan Johnson down that right hand side, no one coming out to him. Vardiol waits for Johnson to come inside, and Johnson with a cross, trying to sneak it in to the near post. Does take a deflection off Vardiol that catches out Edison, and that goes behind for the corner. Another Spurs corner. It's number 4 of the game. Whipped in this time. Up it goes for the header. Falls down to Son with a shot. Takes a deflection. And De Bruyne will see it out for a goal kick. Madison's incensed. James Madison can't believe that it wasn't another corner. I mean, Kevin De Bruyne looked a bit coy there. Yeah, he looked very coy, and it was a corner. De Bruyne had the last touch. I mean, they both touched it, but it was the last touch off De Bruyne. Ethan says Tottenham would want to win this match this week and let Arsenal win against them so that City stay second. Rodri. Foden again, closed down nicely by Porro this time. Nice ball into the space for Son. He's got bodies alongside him. Son feeds it down the right flank. Here's Brennan Johnson. Johnson looking for the pass. Fizzes it across. Rodri with a header clear as Foden brings it down and tries to get City on the move. Here's Bernardo Silva. The referee plays advantage, and look at the gaps here. De Bruyne closed down there, and now Tottenham have it back. But I mean, City not happy. They felt that there wasn't much of an advantage there, but I would disagree. They did make a couple more passes. There was a clear foul on Foden as the ball had left his feet. But the referee played advantage and City couldn't make anything of it. 10 minutes of the first half to go. Manchester City still trailing, or it's not trailing, still goalless here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Spurs look bright in this first half so far. There's a yellow card coming out here as the ball goes out of play. I think it's Bentancur that's getting it for that foul on Foden. So referee doesn't have to give the free kick if there's an advantage being played, but he can still give a yellow card if he feels that it is necessary, and the referee did feel that that was a necessary, unnecessary challenge from Bentancur, and a yellow card was the right decision. So Rodrigo Bentancur in the book. Walker. Bernardo Silva. The game's had nice build-up play, nice approach play from both teams in moments. when they do get into those areas. I mean, it's actually quite considerably the same area. Spurs have had the most of their attacks down the right flank. City have had the most of their attacks also down their right flank. So, at the moment, both sides finding those gaps on the right-hand side of their attacks and the spaces on the opposition's left-hand side. But when they get to the byline, when they get to the area, when they get for that final pass, it's just not clicking at the moment for either of the two teams. And if it does start to click, you might have a bit of a goal fest, as we did last night at Villa Park. 3-3 between Aston Villa and Liverpool. 2 late goals from Villa. A huge point for Aston Villa. 1 step closer to Champions League football. Here's Maddison, round the corner it comes. Højbjerg on the overlap and tried to get the cross in, and Kyle Walker there battling well and make sure that Højbjerg's ball could only reach the City goalkeeper. Rodri. Seven and a half minutes of the first half to go, and City have it at the back here with Ruben Dias. Akanji through the lines. De Bruyne instantly pressed upon. But good work by Rodri to manoeuvre and find Kovacic, who can find the space for Vardiol down the left. And this is, can City get into gear as they switch it across to Bernardo Silva. Brought down in the box by Silva. Can't find the gaps, has to go back to Walker, and Walker with a cross, and back post Vardiol over the bar. And Vardiol in a very good goal scoring form. You'd bet against him finding the back of the net tonight. Scored 3 in his last 3. 2 against Fulham at the weekend. He scored 5 in his last 7 appearances. Scored 1 against Luton and an assist against Luton. Scored in the game against Real Madrid in a 3-3. Scored 1 against Man City, or against Forest for Manchester City, and then those 2 against Fulham at the weekend. So Vardiol certainly finding his goal scoring boots. 4 goals all season in the Premier League. It's always the way about Manchester City. When they get into this form and this part of the season, it's all about unknown, we've talked about it, unusual players that you wouldn't expect to be scoring the goals to score them. Vardiol's certainly one of those at this stage of the season. Another one of those unknowns. A player that you don't always expect to find the back of the net. Just steps up in the right moments and starts to find the back of the net for them. We talked about Rodri and Gundogan doing that from midfield in previous seasons. Spurs pressing the ball there again. It was Sarr this time, but he deemed to have fouled Ruben Dias. So it is a City free kick. And City fans in that away end don't look the most confident now after 40 minutes of watching this game. Still a long, long way to go, though. Very long way to go. Remember, if it's a draw here, that would set up an absolute blockbuster for the final day, because it would leave us with only goal difference separating both Arsenal and Manchester City, and a 3 better off goal difference for Arsenal heading into the final day, which would mean that City would have to outscore Arsenal by 4 goals at the weekend if they are to go and win the title. If it goes to that point, and both teams end up winning, that is, of course. City would still have to outscore Arsenal by 4 clear goals to do so. Here's De Bruyne, though. Long way to go as De Bruyne tried to reach that, and last touch off Dragoshin, or actually off De Bruyne. Dragoshin was over in the cover. Goal kick to Tottenham. They've covered the runners. Other than Kyle Walker, really, that has miles of space in that wide area. Through the centre, Spurs have covered the runners pretty well. The likes of a De Bruyne, a Foden, a Haaland, even a Bernardo Silva to a point. They haven't really kind of looked as threatening to Tottenham's defence as they probably could have in these early moments. And that's credit to Tottenham, being consistent and controlled and very strong in their challenges. But that one from Pedro Porro, maybe just a bit too strong on Phil Foden. He stood on his foot first and then took his left leg away from him. It is a foul. And a free kick for Manchester City. Remember, still a bit of this first half to go, so there's still a lot of time for change to happen. All it takes is one moment, one slight switch off, one lapse of judgment, one lapse of concentration, one moment of brilliance for City to get a goal. We know how crucial and how threatening they can be and how clinical they can be. De Bruyne and Foden over this free kick. Left hand side. Foden leaves it. De Bruyne with the right footed delivery. Up it comes, and up comes the Spurs keeper, Vicario, to gather. Strong goalkeeping from Vicario. Sarr, heavy touch by Van de Ven, but he does well to find it round the corner. To Madison. He's under pressure. Lots of Spurs players. Heavy physicality. Van de Ven kept it in. And a nice ball by Son round the corner. Here's Bentancur, and look at Spurs here. 4-on-2. Oh, how did they mess up that pass? And Gvardiol anticipated beautifully. And now he gets City forward. Gvardiol turns defence to attack. Here's Bernardo Silva. Looking for bodies. Looking for the cross. And took a deflection into the hands of Vicario. That's what I mean about a few frantic moments. Both sides trying to move quickly and catch each other out. City countered the counter on that occasion. Bentancur, but City not at the races as of yet. On the ball, just really not the best. And even out of possession, when Spurs have got the ball, Spurs have been able to thread nice passes through. I mean, when was the last time we saw that? The team was just threading passes through City's in between the lines, as easy as you like. City not at the races just yet, but a long, long way to go. Nothing at great lengths yet. Here's Haaland. Down the left-hand side is Gvardiol. Find the space. Can he find the pass? Gvardiol in the box, closed off. And back it comes again for City to recycle. Rodri. Heavy touch, and he's absolutely hoofed that one. What's he done there? My goodness me, Rodri. He's just hoofed it out of the pitch there. It's not good at all from City on the ball there. Another moment of mistake. I mean, we saw it a couple of times. Ruben Dias with a poor pass, a poor touch. Rodri now, it's catching in this City team. Those poor passes. Here's Bernardo Silva though. Finds Kevin De Bruyne. Now around the corner to Foden. Foden across. Haaland! Off the line, blocked. Silva off the line, and Dragoshin! Goodness me! You were just waiting for the net to bulge there and City to score. On two occasions, Haaland had a shot blocked. And Bernardo Silva as well. Foden might have been just offside there in the build-up, so it wouldn't have counted even if it had found the back of the net, I don't think. But again, that's fantastic defending. Van de Ven with the first one to block Haaland's shot, and then the other one from Bernardo Silva. And there's no added time. And at half-time, after just 45 minutes of play, it's 0-0. And I'm sure at half-time, Pep Guardiola will be fuming because his side have not been at the races yet. Tottenham had a few good moments, but neither side can find the back of the net in this first half. Poor attacking quality. And that's what's had us goalless at the break. Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0. Analysis on the way next.
Put you in a grade 16 like Kenny.
You call me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god.
Catch me if I fall. I got a switch in my head. I go from living to dead. You got me seeing all red. Now
Welcome back to Premier League Live at half-time in the Premier League this evening. It is Tottenham 0, Manchester City 0 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in North London. Of course, these three games that you can see on your screen are all rescheduled fixtures from previously postponed matches from a bit earlier in the season, and we'll be watching those over the next two nights for you. At half-time at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, a goalless draw. At the moment, neither side really testing the opposition defence very much, although City probably had a late flurry at the end of that first half, but maybe an offside was going to be in question there, even if they had have found the back of the net. But ultimately, I think Ange Postecoglou and Spurs will be pretty happy with that first half. I don't think they will be kind of concerned or worried about what they've seen. I think, from what I've seen in that first half, I would actually say City will be fuming with themselves. They will be furious. And for good reason, because they've not been good on the ball, Manchester City. I mean, yes, their passing's been good in moments, but in times they're really lacking urgency and kind of sheer quality. Simple mistakes, basic issues that can be really easily fixed. And maybe that could completely change Man City and they'll come out and look more like themselves in the second half. Excuse me. If they eradicate those slight mistakes that they had in that first half. I mean, Ruben Dias, unopposed on two occasions, unforced errors. He passes it straight out of play, and he took a heavy touch which rolled it out of play on two occasions. Rodri had one in the first half. Bernardo Silva had a heavy touch. There was a couple of moments. Phil Foden's not been as potent and direct and kind of skillful and light-footed as we usually see. You know, he's got that real light foot where he can jink past a couple of players and look really skillful. But at the moment, Spurs, with their duels and their battles, they're winning those physical duels at the moment. They're winning those ground duels. When City are coming forward, the likes of a De Bruyne who usually skips past, or Foden who skips past, or Silva who skips past those defenders, so far Spurs are winning those 50-50s. They're having the better of it in those 50-50s, and that's why I think City have really struggled to create a lot of good attacking chances in the final third. That's why I think Spurs have been so good. But it's also compacting the Spurs' tactics and the Spurs defending out of possession. When they're out of possession, Spurs, I mentioned it in that first half, they are very narrow, very tight, very compact, very closed in. And their defence is really narrow. I mean, I've not seen a back four narrower in a long time. They're literally they're more narrow than the width of the 18-yard box. They are very narrow defensively, Spurs, when they're out of possession. And even going forward, they're trying to play that box midfield to add more and more bodies in the central areas. That's why City have had probably more of the ball in the wider areas with the likes of a Kyle Walker or the likes of sometimes even Josko Vardiol, where they're finding those spaces in the wide areas because Spurs have compacted and really closed down those central areas for City. And that's where the majority of their main best players can find their joy, through the central areas. The likes of a De Bruyne, a Foden, a Bernardo Silva, a Haaland, of course. where they kind of, where their engine room, their machine, where they do their very best work is in that central area, and kind of spring it out to the wide areas, leave the spaces in behind and the gaps in defences. The best thing about City is when they have it in the middle, they want to get it out wide. That kind of forces the opposition to get back and get into the wide areas, which leaves the spaces in the middle, which allows City can bring it back into the middle, catch the team out, and find a free man in the middle of the box. That's where City do so well. But so far, Spurs haven't really fell into that trap. They haven't really kind of batted an eyelid. They've stuck to their game plan. They've stayed compact. They've stayed narrow defensively, out of possession. And they've really kind of tried to close off all of those spaces for City. So when Kyle Walker does get wide, Spurs aren't quick to get out to him. Spurs aren't quick to go wide and leave those gaps. They're staying compact, staying in space, and that's why Kyle Walker, when he does get into those wide areas and does cut it back, that's where he's lacking the room. Or when he does cut it back, that's where they're not finding those late passes, City, because Spurs have a lot of bodies in the middle areas, and that's why the ball's getting cleared time and time again. On top of that, I wouldn't say that City have got into that area where Bernardo Silva does get to the byline, or Kyle Walker does get to the byline for the cutback. They've not got into those areas enough for me, from a Manchester City point of view. They've not really played into that as much. Maybe because they know that they're not getting much joy from it so far. But at the same time, if it's your idea and it's what your football is, don't step away from that. Don't move away from that. Keep belief in it and try and jig a few things about. Don't be naive and stupid and think we're just going to keep doing the same thing and it's not going to work. Try and tweak it up a bit, but stay to the same principle. I don't think City have done that enough in that first half where they've got down the wide areas and tried to test Spurs and tried to pull players out of positions and tried to drag them from spaces. I think Spurs have done really, really well at staying focus-minded, really strong, really compact, really kind of concentrated, knowing where their man is. They all still have their marker. They know who they need to be marking, but in moments. They're sitting in a zone, but they know, Mickey Van de Ven knows that if Kyle Walker gets to this space, I need to be in this area to try and stop this cross or to stop this pass or to stop this movement. That's where Spurs have done so well in that first half. Even going up front, I think Tottenham have found gaps in City. They've moved the ball nicely. They've been quite direct at times at Tottenham, where they're moving it straight through the middle and they're trying to move it quickly, get it through the middle and get it out wide as quick as possible. We've seen Brennan Johnson break down the right-hand side quite a number of times and cut the ball back, almost playing City at their own game, really. But City have done well at defending those positions in moments, giving away a couple of corners, which we don't often see teams getting against Manchester City. I think City have given away the least corners in the league this season, and I've also won the most corners, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I do remember reading that somewhere. But that's where I think Spurs have had a good bit of joy. I mean, we look at the stats, it's pretty even, 3 shots each, 1 shot on target each. But where I think Spurs have been much better is in moving the ball. It's kind of in moments, and I remember one moment in that first half where Spurs looked really kind of under pressure at the back, and we talk about this playing out from the back all the time, and I say, you need to know where your next pass is. You need to know where your next 3 passes are if you're going to play it from the back, because you need to know it inside out, and you need to know what the opposition are doing. Spurs have done so well that they've allowed the man to come to them, and they've passed it off quickly. As soon as they know that press is coming, they've got it away. And that leaves a slight gap. It puts City out of a bit of kind of a jig. It puts them out of kind of focus. And it forces City to drag individually players forward and leave those gaps for Spurs to try and penetrate. They've got good passers of the ball, Spurs. I mean, we talk about Maddison. We talk about, from that first half, Bentancur has been very good in his passing ability. Even down the wings, we looked at Porro and Van de Ven, spreading it down both sidelines, even winning throw-ins, getting them up the pitch at any given opportunity to just keep that pressure on City in any which case. Son's been very good in the tight areas. Sarr, I think, has put a lot of pressure on City in moments and won a couple of balls back in times. That is what Spurs are so good at, and that's where they've kind of tried to focus upon, and they've done a pretty decent job at it in that first half. Still a lot of improvement, still a lot more needed in that final third area from both teams, but I do think Spurs have kind of leaned in on kind of the more compact but also finding those gaps, moving the ball quickly, getting it on the counter-attack pretty fast, and I think Spurs have been quite good at that in the first half. They've actually had more of the ball, Spurs than Manchester City, 55%, which we don't often see either. Spurs are the City opposition having more of the ball than Pep Guardiola's side, but that's another point to make on that first half. After the first half, I had a lot to talk about. I filled that half-time break pretty well. I had so much to talk about. Very interesting first half. Despite there being no goals, there was very little clear-cut chances either, but a lot of tactical analysis here at half-time. And the second half, from a 0-0 draw at the moment, sure there'll be goals in the second half, between Tottenham and Manchester City, the second half is on the way next. Do stay with us here in LFS.
I'll put you in a grave 6 feet like Kenny.
You call me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god.
Catch me if I fall.
Welcome back to Premier League Live. The second half from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is on the way in just a moment. Don't forget, tomorrow night we have more Premier League action for you from Old Trafford, the final Manchester United home game of the season. Tomorrow as they chase European football and they face Newcastle in that battle. That's tomorrow, 8 o'clock here on LFS. And then on Sunday, it's the final day. Who will lift the title? Who will be in the top four? Who will get those European spots? We will find out on Sunday, the final day here on LFS. Kick-off at 4 o'clock, live from 3:30. Right, we'll be back for the second half in North London in just a moment. Do stay with us. Welcome back to Premier League Live. Half-time at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium as it is goalless, but the players striding back out onto the pitch. Just enough time to tell you, don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on post notifications. The domestic season may be coming to an end in the next few weeks, but we will have the Euros, Euro 2024 over the summer to keep you entertained over the month of June and July, and we will have that for you. Right here on LFS, over 40 games live, and you'll not want to miss any of them. In the Scottish Premiership, it's been a quick turnaround for Rangers. Second half comeback, Cyril Dessers and Todd Cantwell with 2 quick goals in the first 20 minutes of the second half has Rangers 3-2 up. As I mentioned, anything other than a Rangers win would see Celtic crowned champions tonight. Celtic can do that themselves if they can even draw tomorrow away at Kilmarnock and still win the title. Celtic, it is that much of an advantage for Brendan Rodgers' side, and we will see if they can do that tomorrow when we watch our other games in the Premier League alongside it. But if Rangers do drop points tonight, it will be Celtic's title tonight rather than tomorrow. Right, second half ready to go then. Spurs attacking from left to right. City the opposite direction of right to left. And De Bruyne will get us going for the second 45 here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, where it has been goalless from that first half. But a first half that really lacked the clinical edge from either of the two teams, and really that final pass potency in the final third that we really expect to see, especially from Manchester City. But as I mentioned at half-time, credit to Tottenham in staying compact and staying controlled and trying to deny City those opportunities. That's a good battle by Dragoshin again, battling with De Bruyne, and it will be a goal kick to Tottenham. And Radu Dragoshin has been very good in those individual duels so far tonight. And in those battles, we talk about strong centre-backs against this City team. He's won, that's 5 of his 6 ground duels Radu Dragoshin has won so far this evening. Spurs playing out from the back, and they make a mistake there. Akanji latches upon it. Here's Kevin De Bruyne. Forces a big save off Vicario. Lovely save by the Spurs keeper. But it's all a Spurs' own doing. Really poor passing out from the back. Just too loose with it. Akanji spots the gap, spots the mistake, latches upon it, plays it in first time, comes off Bernardo Silva, falls to Kevin De Bruyne at the edge of the box, who strikes it with the right boot. Decent hit, but a nice area for the keeper of Vicario to get with the left hand and to palm it wide. But really nice from City to latch upon that poor pass, although there's nice work from Son. Højbjerg there with a poor pass, and Maddison tries to rescue it for the throw, but it will be a City throw as Maddison incensed that he didn't get the throw in there. But I would have to agree with the officials and not James Maddison on that occasion. It's not without confidence that I do that. Here's Phil Foden. Kovacic. So he's certainly trying to manoeuvre Spurs about a lot more early in this second half. Bernardo Silva. Now back to Ruben Dias. Back to Manuel Akanji. Now Ruben Dias. In between the lines to Kovacic. And now Foden with space to run. Down the left-hand side it comes to Vardiol. Kovacic. It's Papsar that's the furthest forward for Spurs, although that's not saying much because they're all behind the ball. So here's Bernardo Silva. Kovacic. To De Bruyne, coming wide. Kevin De Bruyne fizzes it into the box, and a late run from Foden, but overhit that one from De Bruyne, and Porro can recover. Down the line it goes, and Papsar has the space to run. Looking for options, there's no one up with him at the moment. We'll play it on to Brennan Johnson though. Good hold-up play. Johnson into the box, on there with a flick on. Edison had to block it. That was a lovely run by Heung-min Son. Nice cross by Brennan Johnson. But it's lovely from Sarr to wait for the overlap of Brennan Johnson, and Johnson first time low cross into the box. Son runs across, the kind of defender, to come and grab it. Hits it with his inside of his right boot, and it comes straight off Edison with a save. But good work from Spurs down that right flank again. I mentioned the joy they were getting down that right hand side with Brennan Johnson. It's a really nice fizz cross, low and hard across the box, and Son spotted that, made the run and tried to find the net, but blocked off by the City keeper. So despite both keepers only being called into action just the once in the first half, they've already been called into action inside the first 4 minutes of the second half. So already both trying to attack in the right moments. As Porro hit that one out of play for a City throw. Lisa says, any subs? Not to my knowledge. I don't think there is. No, there is not. Any substitutes at half time? That's a wasteful ball there by Dragoshin. A bit overhit that. Spurs will surrender possession once more. City get another throw in. Kanji to Edison. Bernardo Silva. Rodri hoofs it up the pitch. Intercepted there by Højbjerg. Making up with Bentancur. Back to Porro. Now Højbjerg. And between the lines comes Spurs again. Bentancur riding the challenge. Nice spin and turn by Madison. And a lovely ball down the left-hand side here. Son up against Walker. Son comes inside. Son with a shot blocked by Diaz. And will be recovered by Tottenham again. Really nice. It's lovely for Madison just to find the gap, to find the run of Son, and get the ball out to that area. Oh, there's Foden speeding down the left-hand side. Bentancur in chase. Foden's ball in. Couldn't find Haaland. Will bounce all the way out to Bernardo Silva though. Spurs try to get bodies back. Here's Kevin De Bruyne. Fizz it across the box, and it's a tap-in for Erling Haaland. As simple a goal as he'll score. And a whole of the first half where Manchester City looked as blunt as anything, but the start of this second half, both sides have upped it in the final third, and City the first to find the net. And it's all of Spurs' own doing, really. They commit too many bodies, they can't get them back in time. It's a poor bit of play there. It was Christian Romero just loses the battle with Foden. Foden with an early cross in. It doesn't get anywhere. But City don't panic. They keep it calm. Bernardo Silva through the lines to De Bruyne. Just onside De Bruyne. And then he just squares it across the 6-yard box. And you know who's going to be waiting? Erling Haaland in the middle to just roll it into the nets to give City a 1-goal lead. And that is a massive goal in a massive moment at the start of the second half, which will give City huge confidence and a bit of relief of pressure and tension in those fans at that away end to this stadium. Their first Premier League goal at this stadium against Tottenham. And it's all about how Spurs react to that now. And it's all about Spurs just having to go for it now. They're now chasing the game. They are behind. Maybe have to open up a bit more, and that might be even more of a worry. Because that was them being compact that they conceded that one. As Brennan Johnson hits it off Vardiol. Will be a throw-in. Pep Guardiola. I don't know what he's doing there. Some strange manoeuvres. Let's show you the live table then, because it has changed. And City back top as it stands. With this win, they would head into the final day with a 2-point lead over Arsenal. And they would need to drop points on the final day, City. And Arsenal to win for Arsenal to lift the title. As I said, they need just these 2 wins. Win here this evening and a win on Sunday would secure a 4th successive Premier League title for Manchester City. Something never done before in Premier League history. That's as it stands. There's a long way to go in this second half. And Spurs have shown glimpses where they can test City and can find the gaps where they can try and exploit and penetrate, but it's all about the basics. I said about how City, if they improved on those basics, they will be much, much better in the second half. Those little mistakes in possession that let them down in the first half and broke down a lot of their attacks. If they improve on that, they will be 10 times better in the second half. And we've already seen it in these first 6-7 minutes of the second half. They have looked much more threatening. But when scoring first, City, 84 times they've scored first since the end of May 2021. They've lost just once. However, Spurs this season, when conceding first, have gone on to win games more than anyone else. 7 wins when conceding the first goal, Tottenham, more than anyone else in the league. And a change incoming for Tottenham, so they're going to make a change here. Rodrigo Bentancur is coming off, and Dejan Kulusevski is coming on. So maybe a return to the more familiar setup for Spurs of a 4-2-3-1. And add an extra attacker in the final third to help them going forward. As a nice pull in behind, but one for Kulishevsky to chase, but couldn't reach it, and Edison clears it away for Manchester City. Sarr with a header. Son back to Højbjerg and puts Porro in a slightly difficult position. Foden was covering him over there, and Spurs go back to Romero. Nice Sarr. Out to the right hand side to Brennan Johnson. Nice diagonal 1-2 for City, or for Spurs there, but Kulishevsky couldn't reach the last pass there. It runs out for a City throw. Ooh, Bentancur furious that he came off there. He almost kicked the seat off his hinges on the Spurs bench there. Certainly not happy. But he was actually in a good place, Rodrigo Bentancur. Maybe the yellow card could have gone against him, but I have to say he was doing a decent job, and I'm just thinking that yellow card maybe was in the mind of Ange Postecoglou, and also maybe some fresh legs onto the pitch, someone else to throw something at the City defence. You know, maybe a slight switch in the setup, a few tweaks, maybe allowing Spurs a bit more of it. As De Bruyne there goes down like an injured, wounded soldier. There's going to be another yellow card coming out here by Chris Kavanagh. Perhaps Sarr's going to be the one that's going to get booked, but I think that's a bit of exaggerated from Kevin De Bruyne there. I don't think Sarr did very much wrong. Maybe just the back of his foot that he stood on, but De Bruyne went down like he was shot in like a war. What was that all about? I think he's actually holding his... Strange that. Not a good scene for Kevin De Bruyne to go down like that. A yellow card then, as I said, for Pape Sarr, while we wait for De Bruyne to receive that treatment, which he is receiving at the moment. Just seeing the replay of that City goal. It's all from a simple mistake. I talked about how good Spurs were, how physical they were in those duels in that first half, and how hard they worked to win each and every battle against City. And Christian Romero, at the start of that build-up, for allowing Foden to run through, he kind of just half-heartedly, really just kind of tries to block Foden and stop him. And it's just so lazy, I would say. It's just lazy defending, not committing yourself. It's the first time Spurs did it in the game. They just weren't fully committed. And just from a Spurs point of view, very disappointing. But for a City point of view, they'll take it as much as they can. Kevin De Bruyne is just tying his shoelaces at the moment, so he looks to be okay to continue. And that assist, his 112th, means Kevin De Bruyne becomes the second in the list for most assists in the Premier League. Only Ryan Giggs has assisted more goals than Kevin De Bruyne in Premier League history. De Bruyne 112. Ryan Giggs still quite a bit ahead of him at 162. He did go past Cesc Fabregas there, De Bruyne. He'll want to add to that tally if he can continue. He's hobbling a bit here as he's walking towards the sideline, so he's not looking particularly happy. We will see if he can continue. Of course, did miss a majority of this season through injury, Kevin De Bruyne, earlier in the campaign. De Bruyne looks to be okay to continue in a moment. Not on the pitch just yet, though. City playing with 10 for now. Rodri back to Akanji. City trying to pass it out here, although Spurs trying to pounce upon it. Don't do as well as probably they should do with that, and Vardiol does very well defensively for City to win the goal kick. As De Bruyne awaiting for his return, and there he comes. Back onto the pitch. Being waved on by the referee Chris Kavanagh after receiving that treatment. I don't know what Pep Guardiola is complaining about to the fourth official, Graham Scott. I don't know what the complaint is about. I mean, it is the rules. When a player receives treatment, they do have to be off the pitch for at least 30 seconds before they can return now. That is the official football rules. Adopted by IFAB, of course. Start of this season, so it's been a season-long rule that hasn't changed. I'm guessing that's what Pep Guardiola is complaining about. I mean, I am just guessing, so I don't know. Here's Kulishevsky. Madison. Spurs in the box here. Madison, look for the cross. Does take a deflection off the cross and will be a corner. More positive from Spurs. Madison and Kulishevsky linking up nicely there. In the intricate spaces. Look at the many City players in and around them. 5 City players. Fantastic from Madison and Kulishevsky there. And Madison to take this corner. Right footed in, swinging corner from the left hand side. Madison right across it comes. And out the other end it goes. Dragoshin will recover. Højbjerg. Now across to Kulishevsky. Trying to find the space. Has the shot. And it curls towards Edison. And a crunching challenge there by Romero on the City keeper. Has Edison in a very bad way here at the moment. Edison's on the floor flat. That's another issue. Romero, though, I think has the right to go for it. We'll see the replay of it again. We'll just confirm that. But it does look like an accidental one. But Edison is going to receive some treatment. So we'll have another injury breakage or stoppage here for the moment. Again, Pep Guardiola not particularly happy with what has just happened. We'll see the replay. And look at Nathan Ake trying to come up and argue now. Oh, that's not good. Just saw a stretcher going past Guardiola there on the sidelines. Are we allowed to see the replay? Not showing us the replay, which is quite a concerning thing. When they don't show you the replay, it is a worry as to the condition of the player. So Edison is receiving the treatment at the moment, which is quite concerning. But he is still lying flat on the floor. Just seeing a wide angle, and the stretcher's been brought onto the pitch here instantly. This does not look good, and the VAR are having a look at something here as well. And Romero might be in trouble here. It is a yellow card given by the referee. And we're told that Romero doesn't catch Edison with his leg, but he catches him with his hip. And catches Edison's head with his hip. So it's not anything other than that. And it is a yellow card for Christian Romero because of the reckless nature of the challenge. It is quite a reckless challenge, but nothing more than that. He did have a genuine attempt to go for the ball, and for the moment I thought that it might just be a good chance at getting the ball, but Edison did very well to recover it. But he is still down and left in a not a very good position, and they've sent out their substitute keeper, Manchester City, Stefan Ortega, to warm up, as they're expecting maybe a change incoming, as Edison's sitting up again, which is very good to see. That's a great sign. And Edison just still receiving that treatment, and the physios, of course, being very, very careful. With a blow to the head, they have to do all the concussion type of protocols to make sure that Edison is okay. And they take their time with this. And Edison still being monitored. But as long as they take their time and make sure it is the correct decision, and he is okay to continue, then that's all that matters. As one of the City coaching staff has just been yellow carded here by the referee for his reaction to the situation. Okay, Pep Guardiola just getting his coaching staff in check there, just sending him back to the bench. You can understand why the City bench and coaching staff are a bit furious with the decision or with the situation, but in the end, when you see it in hindsight, he does go genuinely to get the ball, does Christian Romero. It is reckless, of course it is. It's only a yellow for Romero. And Edison is okay to continue, and he will be kicking it here. The first kick is not confident because he does slip from that kick. I think that was a bit shorter than I expected it to be. For a concussion stoppage, it was quite short of an examination. And Edison, as soon as he sat up, he was almost standing within seconds. I'll keep a close eye on Edison and hope that he is fully okay. Of course, we've had issues with concussion problems before. Of course, there is the rule now, if you do sustain a concussion, you cannot play a football game for a certain number of days after receiving that diagnosis. And you are out of action for quite a number of days, after which... Yeah, and Edison I don't think is going to continue here. No, because Stefan Ortega is readying himself on the sideline, so I think Pep Guardiola is going to just take a precaution here and not keep his keeper on. Man City maybe readying that change in the goal. For the moment, here's Bernardo Silva. We'll talk about that in a second. There's another poor touch on the ball, that from Kovacic, but he does well to recover it and get it back to Edison. To Akanji now. Through the middle it goes. Bit of a mistake. City lose the ball again in the middle. Spurs win it back. Maddison. Looking for options. A quarter of the game to go. It's Tottenham 0. Manchester City 1. Haaland's goal the difference. Haaland's tapping the difference. It was a beautifully worked goal by City. You say about teams trying to walk it into the net as if it's a negative all the time. City tried to walk it into the net, and they practically did walk it into the net through Erling Haaland. So the goalkeeper's not going to be the only substitute, because Jeremy Doku's ready as well on the sideline. So more subs incoming for City. So not just their goalkeeper is going to be changing. So push on Foden by Romero. Romero's kind of lost his head a bit. He's not been as good in the second half as he was in the first. And Edison's not happy that he's coming off here. Just see the replay again. Yeah. He does have a genuine attempt at the ball there, Christian Romero. I do have to say that. It is true, but it is very reckless. Edison coming off then, which he's not happy with. And Kevin De Bruyne is also coming off. So De Bruyne and Edison off. And Ortega and Doku coming on. So maybe not coincidentally that both of those players that have come off for City had an injury issue in the last few moments or so. And Edison's really not happy. He's throwing a couple of things. He's really unhappy. But it makes no sense. If the City team are not confident in letting him play in goal, clearly there's something wrong. Clearly he's not okay to continue. Of course a player doesn't want to come off, especially the best of players. But the fact that he was allowed to continue in the first place and then come off 2 minutes later, how is that allowed to happen? So I mean, he didn't look right. That's what I said, that for a concussion examination, it should take quite a number of minutes. He was up in seconds. Oh, but lax at the back there from Spurs. Foden couldn't find the gap. And cleared away there. I saw it's a lovely ball. Johnson there trying to manoeuvre past Kovacic. Lost the ball, and Kovacic a bit overzealous. He's dramatic there, and Kovacic is going to get a yellow card for blocking off the quick free kick. Maybe a smart yellow card to take from Mateo Kovacic, because maybe City did look in a vulnerable position if the Spurs were to take that quick free kick. But back to that point, that concussion examination on Edison looked very, very quick. I mean, no sooner did I say that he was back sitting up and getting a drink of water and kind of being examined, till he was back up on his feet and he was kicking the ball for a goal kick. Or for a free kick, sorry. I mean, surely if you're going to examine a player for concussion and then he has to come off 2 or 3 minutes later because his coaching staff don't feel that he's in the right up to it to continue, or don't want to take a risk on him continuing because they might suspect concussion, clearly the examination didn't go the way it should have, or it wasn't done correctly enough. Here's Spurs in the box. Here's Kulusevski. Tried to get it past Ortega, but couldn't squeeze it past the City sub-keeper. See that again. Lovely from Kulusevski. Endless in his endeavour to win the ball, and Akanji just a bit weak on that clearance, and the shot from Kulusevski does try and sneak through the legs of Ortega, but Ortega does close his legs in time and block it off. So close. And Ange Postecoglou's side coming very close to a leveller there. Wouldn't rule that option out either. Here's Doku though. City looking threatening. Doku couldn't feed the ball through the lines, and Spurs block it out. A poor pass in the middle, poor bit of covering as Doku wins it back again. Vardiol, and now round the corner to Akanji. Spurs just need to be composed. Final score from Ibrox, by the way. Rangers went on to win 5-2 in that one. A fourth goal from Scott Wright and a fifth goal from Scott Wright in the dying moments secured a 5-2 victory for Rangers. After going 2-0 down, scored 5 unanswered goals to win 5-2. Doku with a cross. Forced a hand off Vicario to palm it. Does go for the corner. Doku just bricks past Porro. He tried to chip it across. Maybe going for the shot there. And a right hand by Vicario to palm it behind for the corner to Manchester City. Doku, that slight change, maybe an extra kind of threat from the wide areas. As I mentioned, City really struggled in those midfield areas in the first half, the central at moments, the central areas. De Bruyne had to come a bit wider to find a few moments in the second half. So maybe that was the thinking of Pep Guardiola. As the corner comes in, a bit overhit that one. It's cleared away by Porro, back in the mix by Kovacic, but it will bounce all the way out for a goal kick. Well, I'm sure for Arsenal fans, it's the hope that kills them. You know, City at 1-0, you think, maybe, you never know. But in true Manchester City style, they would be 1-0 up. And if Spurs cannot find that leveller, they'll just go 2-0 up before the end of the game and they'll win 2-0. City, it just seems to be the City way. Just when they give you that slight bit of hope, that they take it away from you again. As a neutral, I don't need to worry about that tonight. I'm sure the Arsenal fans, nervy. I mean, Spurs know they need to win tonight, remember, to keep their hopes of Champions League football going. But even if they get a big result here, I mean, to get 2 big results out of City in a season is still a massive kind of achievement. And Ange Postecoglou's first season in charge, to not lose to City in either of their league games in a season would be a massive achievement for them. It's a lovely ball in between the lines. Johnson trying to run through, but great recovery pace there from Manuel Akanji to block it off and allow Ortega to come for it. Really nice diagonal run by Brennan Johnson. He's trying to threaten again in behind. And he's been mainly Spurs' main threat up front this evening. Brennan Johnson. But the recovery pace of Manuel Akanji there was monstrous. Here's Vardiol. Long switch ball out to the right. Bernardo Silva back to Walker. Rodri. Back to Diaz. Switches it out to the left. Back to Vardiol. Infield it comes to Kovacic. Down the left flank comes Jeremy Doku. 15 minutes to go. Doku closed off. Has to come back. Vardiol back out to Doku in space. Still has 2 Spurs bodies ahead of him. Can't figure out a way to get past them yet. Has to come back to Akanji. Akanji has to go all the way back to Ortega. He will kick long. Try and find the run of one of the City players there. Couldn't see who that was. I think it was Bernardo Silva. And in the end, it comes out for a Spurs free kick off Pap Sarr. Spurs staying in the battle here. Kulishevsky. Madison. Back it comes. City have actually looked more controlled in the middle in the second half. Out of possession when Spurs have had the ball. It's City not only not sitting compact, but really just trying to sit deeper. Not allowing the space in between the lines as much. City were a bit more up the pitch with their midfield in the first half, where they dropped off a couple of yards and allowed that more control in the midfield and try and block Spurs off in those middle areas and forcing Spurs wide. But here comes Porro down the right flank. Kulishevsky, bodies in the middle. Can't find them. Madison. Back to Kulishevsky. To James Madison. Spurs 1-2 touch passing. Waiting for the space to open up, but at the moment not finding that gap. Romero. Through the lines it comes. Son. Back to Porro. Has to go back again though. On the right it comes. Porro. Back in field to Sarr. Now Spurs will go down the left hand side. Here with Højbjerg. Van de Ven back to Højbjerg. Madison. Patience from Tottenham. Madison sprays it out to the right hand side. Nice first touch by Brennan Johnson. To Kulishevsky. Looking for the pass back was Brennan Johnson, but Kulishevsky not opting for that pass in that occasion. Switch ball from Højbjerg. Chested down by Porro. There's space here. Porro looking for the cross. Blocked by Doku. Will be a Spurs corner. Lisa says Doku is the best winger in the world as well as Foden. I don't think he's been at his peak best this season, Jeremy Doku, but he has been a good quality player in the City attack. Spurs take the corner short. Kulishevsky has space in the edge of the box, and he tried to curl one to the top corner, but put too much height behind it and it goes over the bar. Wasted opportunity though from Spurs, really. Kind of a waste. I mean, their chances of scoring from there are minimal. From a corner. I mean, I've made my views known on short corners previously. I am not a fan of short corners whatsoever. But another example of it comes to nothing. Ortega to take this goal kick then for City. Taking his time. Maybe a sneaky bit of time wasting there from the City keeper. This is all about game management now. Man City know they've got that lead, and that lead could be enough for the moment if they can hold on. And Spurs know that they want to attack, they want to threaten, they want to cause City some problems. Try and get that equaliser. It's all about City just being controlled and being kind of, you know, smart enough in those moments. Just not give silly things away, not give Spurs the ball unnecessarily. Rodri just stretched for that one and give away probably a naive free kick, a silly free kick to give away. What do Spurs do here though? I mean, we talked before the game that would they rather lose to City to deny Arsenal a chance at the title or try and win the game. At this moment, oh, they've got a chance here. Oh, Keeper blocks it off. Kulishevsky with a shot. City again. They did not look controlled at all there, Manchester City. I'll have to explain it from the replay again. Madison. Here's Højbjerg though. Spurs keep the ball. Madison. They've played well, Spurs, in possession, I think. Overall, over the 80 minutes, they've been quite good. Maybe they just need that finisher, that one moment for a clinical goal scorer. That's lovely from Haaland. Foden absolutely pummeled that forward unnecessarily. And now Spurs have the ball. Down the right hand side they come with Brennan Johnson. Back in field to Porro. Porro across. Now Madison looking for the gaps. Finds Sarr in space. Sarr with a shot from about 30 yards. Blocked. Back to Pap Sarr it comes. Awful pass out there, Pap Sarr, and referee says a collision. Sarr has it back. Madison now. Spurs keeping the pressure on. Kulishevsky. City have quite a number of bodies back. As Porro plays it off to Johnson. Down the right hand side. Johnson back across. Madison with the opportunity. Couldn't cross it into an area where a Spurs player was waiting. And it's cleared away by City. But Spurs back on the ball. And back keeping the pressure on Manchester City in City's half. And often we see this. It's all about going for the jugular. Here's Johnson. Down the right hand side it comes. Porro looking for the early cross, but Akanji came across well and blocked it. Vardiol in between the lines finds Rodri and allows City a bit of space to break forward. Here's Bernardo Silva. City going for the switch there, but underhit that one to Doku, and Porro heads it back to his keeper and can get Spurs back on the ball. Remember, anything other than a Spurs win would end Spurs' hopes of Champions League and automatically secure Aston Villa's place in next season's Champions League. Or, the last time they'd played in it, it was called the European Cup. 41 years ago, and Villa just 8 minutes plus additional time away from that being confirmed for them once again. Here comes City though, down the right, Walker. Back to Bernardo Silva. Rodri, back to Kovacic. And they're just passing it around short here, City. Not flinging it forward, not forcing it into the attacking areas, just keeping the ball and believing their quality to keep the ball. Ortega to Akanji. In between the lines of Foden. Saying 7 minutes plus the additional time. Tottenham 0, Manchester City 1. Remember, anything other than a City win would be title in Arsenal's hands to the final day. City win here tonight. They'll have a 2-point lead on Arsenal going into the final day, and they would have to fumble it at the Etihad on Sunday for Arsenal to have a chance. That would be the case. So Kanji sprays it out to the right hand side. That's lovely from Bernardo Silva to take it down and get it back into possession. Kovacic, Haaland again pounced upon. City keep the ball. Kovacic now, Foden in between the lines. Here's Vardiol breaking forward. Vardiol now to Doku. Couldn't find Doku. And Porro with a block off and clears it out for the City throw. Doku caught in maybe two minds there whether to cross it or to shoot himself. Double substitution incoming for Spurs then. So some more fresh legs for Spurs late on for maybe a late flurry in attack. So Giovanni Lo Celso's coming on. He's going to replace Pap Sarr. And then Pierre-Emile Højbjerg is coming off and he's going to be replaced by Oliver Skip. So two changes in the midfield for Spurs. Lo Celso and Skip on. Sarr and Højbjerg off. 5.5 minutes of the 90 to go. Vardiol with a throw-in. On the left. Back it comes to Akanji. And some more fresh legs for Spurs in the final third to try and help them on their task. As Doku brings it down on the left flank. We wanted a flag there, Porro, initially, but the flag stayed down against Doku. It's a lovely switch ball by Akanji, again brought down deftly by Bernardo Silva. It's now Foden down the right hand side to Silva. Back to Foden. Bernardo Silva has to go backwards, not getting it forward into that final third as much. City making those runs, but just waiting for those opportunities to come their way. Just make the pass backwards and manage it. Oh, mistake at the back there. And here's Son in one-on-one. Oh, what a save. Awful finish. That is a chance and a half for Tottenham. My goodness me. Just as I said, City were calm and composed on the ball. They make an absolute massive error. And their sub-keeper comes up trumps because he denies Spurs an equaliser. That would have really put the cat amongst the pigeons late on here. Here's Doku, and what a chance that is to concede late on and to give away. And what a chance that is for that player on the pitch, Heung-min Son. So the long ball, just backwards it comes, and Akanji just gets caught on the ball. Really good challenge. I think it was Porro that made the challenge. Or maybe not Porro. Brennan Johnson makes the challenge. Son runs through onto the loose ball. Son just tries one-on-one with Ortega, and he just hits it straight down the middle of Stefan Ortega. And Son just cannot find the finish. But how unfortunate that is for Spurs. And Arsenal as well. But how fortunate that is for Manchester City. One of the most ruthless killers in that position, one-on-one. And Son didn't find the net. If you had to put your house on any of the Spurs players finding the net on a one-on-one situation, you would have bet everything you have on Heung-min Son. And he could not finish it from that opportunity. City have a free kick in an attacking area here as well. Here's Phil Foden. We've still got added time to come as well, so maybe, just maybe, there's more time. Foden whips it into the box. Headed away by Romero, not fully cleared. Good block by Kulishevsky. Shot from the edge of the box, blocked. Back it comes to Bernardo Silva. Round the corner to Akanji. Back to Silva. Spurs will just recoup. City will just recover the ball as they've given it away unforced again, and that's a late challenge that time. It's Foden that commits the foul and a yellow card for his challenge on James Maddison. But again, it's another unforced error from City. They give the ball away and now they've got a free kick to defend because City put themselves under unnecessary pressure. Foden on the yellow card. Stefan Ortega. What are you thinking in that moment? Son's coming right at you from a good distance, one-on-one, and you think, I can just have to try and make myself as big as possible. Surely that's the only thought in the City keeper's head. It's all on Son. He has to make the finish to try and beat the keeper. And Ortega stands his ground, makes himself big, and a really poor finish by Son in the end. And Ortega gets the praises. Long ball forward by Spurs, and Kyle Walker does really well there to shield the ball away from Kulishevsky. Wins City the throw on the right hand side. 90 seconds of the 90 minutes to go. Still a bit of added time, I'm sure, incoming fairly shortly. There's only a 1-goal lead. Remember, 1 goal for Spurs in this late stage could change the dynamics of this title race completely as we head into the final day. But here's Doku. Doku's broke free. Goes down. Penalty. Pedro Porro defending Jeremy Doku. And he wins City a penalty. It's Phil Foden with a long switch ball. And Doku's racing with Porro. Porro gets there ahead of him. Doku wins it back. And he just tries to chip it around him. It's fantastic by Haaland. Foden just forces it forward and Doku chasing. Porro tries to cover and he just lunges a late right leg out. And Doku goes to ground. There's no question about it. It is a penalty. No question. And Spurs, from a moment 1-on-1 where they could have levelled the game. 1-on-1 on their own 18-yard box, and they give away a penalty. Pedro Porro, the man to give it away. And Erling Haaland, who's already scored once in the game, will have a chance to add a second to his tally and to Manchester City's tally. There will be 10 added minutes anyway in this one. 10 more minutes. So this goal, or this penalty, sorry, that could be a goal, could be huge. This could be the biggest moment in City's season. Score, and you're a certainty, almost a certainty to win this game and see it out. Miss, and more questions will be asked. Haaland! You never doubt him. You never ever doubt him. Haaland doubles Manchester City's lead. And from a moment of pure terror at the back for City, they come up the other end and actually terrorise Tottenham's defence. And Erling Haaland will be teaching Heung-min Son a few things about killer instinct there. Because Haaland had the keeper's number all day long. He sent them the wrong way and put in a beautiful penalty into the opposite top corner. Fantastic from Erling Haaland. And a masterclass in staying in the game and managing it for City. But that's some power on that strike from Erling Haaland. He made sure that even if the keeper had guessed the right way, that it was going to be tough to keep out in any case. But he sent the keeper the wrong way. And Spurs can only blame themselves really for this. They had a huge opportunity at one end to level it, and they end up shooting themselves in the foot and conceding a penalty at the other. And they now have 8 minutes to try and send this out. And City fans jubilant, bouncing in that away end because they have got it in their hands. If they win this and hold on now, which looks even more likely than it did before, it's in their hands going into the final day. Wow. Wow. Even when you think you've got this Premier League title race all wrapped up in your head and you think you know what's coming, another spanner gets thrown into the works. Goodness me. City 2 up. Just as I said, I mentioned it earlier in the game, and you can pull it back, you can rewind the stream and go back to what I said. And Arsenal fans, believe me, I know, believe me, when City give you a slight bit of hope that they might drop points, and they go up the other end and get that goal that deads the game. It is City's identity. It is what Manchester City do. It is why they're on the verge and just at this moment, one win away from another Premier League title and a fourth successive one. Although, Spurs haven't given up yet, and Kulishevsky working it into the box there. Does get the corner. Maybe, who knows? The Spurs, it's a win-win tonight. Even if they don't win on the night, City have a massive chance to win the league. And denying their local rivals a huge chance at it. Corner for Spurs though, maybe not just over yet. Corner comes in, City clear it away and deal with it. But they do get the free kick in any case for that one. But believe me when I tell you, as a Liverpool fan and as a neutral overall, as a Liverpool fan, I felt the pain of Manchester City before. When they give you a slight bit of hope, they take it away as quickly as they give it to you. And Arsenal fans will know that pain here tonight. Just when they thought their biggest opponents of North London, Tottenham, 1-on-1, Son with a chance to level it, that could have given Arsenal the benefit and the advantage going into the final day. Son hits it straight at the keeper, and a minute or two later it comes up the other end, and City get a penalty which is converted by Erling Haaland. Champions mentality, that. Maybe a bit of luck. You have to get luck sometimes in the football. But has always said, you earn your own luck. Over a season, luck will be distributed out to each and every team, but you have to earn it. And City have by far earned their luck this season from the quality football they've played. And they now favourites heading into the final day for a 4th successive Premier League title. Something never accomplished in Premier League history before. City, only the second side to do it 3 times in a row. Manchester United have done it 3 times in a row. They've done it twice, actually, 3 times in a row. But no one's ever done it 4 times. And City, 1 win away from that. Still to see out this game, remember, of course. But it looks very unlikely that Spurs are going to score 2 goals in the last 5 minutes. But, I mean, I said it. When you think it's all wrapped up, you never know what's going to happen. But it looks very unlikely. You never know, though. But this team, when you think that something's going to go against them, when you think they're down and out, when you think that maybe it's not their night, that maybe this is the night where they drop points, maybe this is the night where they don't do it, where they don't do the job, they just prove you wrong time and time and time and time again. And it's not often we question City. It's not often you question whether City is going to win a game, because you just have that instant belief in their quality and in their manager and in their mentality that they will get the job done and they will see out a victory and they will do the job. You just have that belief. Tonight they've been on at the races for the majority of the game, but when they've needed that moment, when they've needed that player to step up, Erling Haaland's been there twice tonight to step up and put it into the back of the net. There's Doku jinking his way through the middle and couldn't find the final pass, blocked off by Spurs, but surely it's just a matter of time now for Tottenham, who have actually had more shots than City, more shots on target than City, more possession than Manchester City, more corners than Manchester City, more big chances than Manchester City. But one thing they do not have over City is the scoreline. Manchester City scoring in the big moments when it matters the most. They have players to step up in those moments and deliver. And that's what you need if you're going to be a Premier League winner and a title race challenger and a champion of this competition in this league, is players to step up in the moments where it matters the most to give you that goal. And City have that in abundance. It's why they're so hard to stop. It's why they're so hard to combat and to dethrone. Here's Jeremy Doku into the box. It comes, and the shot did take a touch off the Spurs keeper, and it will be a City corner. Doku just never gave up there. A left-footed shot straight at Vicario. It comes off the keeper's left shoulder and bounces behind for the corner. Alvarez over to take this corner. Doku's come for the short option if he wants to take it. Alvarez, I'm sure he will. There we are, just rolls it to Doku. Spurs try and win it back. City only limit them to a throw-in. But I have to say tonight, the most impactful player on that pitch tonight. We talk about Erling Haaland scoring the 2 goals, but Manchester City would have conceded 1 or 2, if not more, with Spurs creating those big chances. Remember the Kulusevski saves, the huge one against Son one-on-one. That's what keepers are there for, to get you out of those scary, wary moments, to stand up, step up and be counted in those moments and do the business. Stefan Ortega, minimal involvement and minimal minutes tonight. Remember, just 30 minutes or so he will play this evening, and he has already had a major impact on City. Has made some huge, huge saves tonight. 3 big saves. He's prevented 1.43 XG by himself. That's incredible. And Stefan Ortega, without doubt, player of the match for me. As the 10 out of minutes are up, just awaiting on the whistle from the referee. Spurs in behind, but the flag's up. Might be the first offside of the night. Is it? Sorry, it's not. Apologies. Completely wrong on that one. There we are. Those City fans in that away end know they can head to the Etihad on Sunday with it in their hands, win, and they're champions again. That's it! All over in North London. Spurs 1-on-1 with a chance to level it. They fumble it, and City take advantage at the other end. City not at their very best on the night. But what do we say always? Champions always, when they're not at their best, they find a way to win. And every single City player fought to the very bitter end. Stefan Ortega made some big saves late on. Most crucially, that one against Heung-min Son that could have levelled the game. But Erling Haaland to get 2 goals, a tap-in and a penalty. He'll never get an easier brace in his life, Erling Haaland. And he'll get quite a number more of them in his career, but never an easier set surely tonight. And it's in City's hands heading into the final day. Also, congratulations to Aston Villa, who are back in the Champions League. They haven't been in Europe's top competition since it was a different name of the European Cup back in 1983. 41 years, and congratulations to Aston Villa on that front. Spurs, their season's now over. They will be in the Europa League next year. And they head into the final day knowing they've got nothing to play for now. They come out and fought. They worked hard and tried their best. But when they had their chances, they couldn't take them. And that's the big moments. That's what you talk about in these big moments. If you cannot finish your dinner, you will be punished in this league. And City, one of the best and most potent examples of that saying. So, heading into the final day then, it will be City that lead the way. 2-point lead heading into that game on Sunday against West Ham United. Win, and they have created history. They will be champions for a 4th successive time. A draw or a defeat on Sunday against David Moyes' West Ham, and City will be at the mercy of Arsenal and what Mikel Arteta's side can do against Everton at the Emirates. That's all to come, and all those permutations and worries you can figure out on Sunday. But for tonight, those City fans that travelled to North London, knowing their side have never won here before, and knowing they needed to destroy their previous demons and overcome those fears of this stadium, they've done it, and they have done it the hard way. But all that matters is 3 points, is what City head back up north with tonight. Incredible! And a 4th successive Premier League title is on the horizon. Final score from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It's Tottenham 0, Manchester City 2. Don't forget then on this Sunday then, the final day, Sunday 3:30, we're live from kickoff at 4 o'clock here on LFS. And tomorrow, before we get to that, a bit ahead of ourselves, tomorrow we will be back here with more Premier League football at Old Trafford. Leaky Old Trafford, all the drama from the weekend, losing to Arsenal. But that wasn't the biggest headline from Old Trafford of the weekend. Leaky Old Trafford, and they welcome Newcastle tomorrow as both battle it out for European football. That's tomorrow, 8 o'clock on LFS. But for tonight, City lead the way, and a fourth successive title is not too far away. West Ham win on Sunday, and they'll be champions once again. Good night.